I absolutely love that we're having an afternoon session, changing things up a little bit. It's still a nice afternoon. I was going to say morning. Normally we get to look out the window and say, beautiful morning to start the day, but thankfully it's a gorgeous afternoon to continue the day. So it's lovely. Hopefully it's nice where you guys are as well, not too cloudy or anything. Enjoying the sunshine. And it's, I can't believe already, 3 weeks into August. Time is flying by rather quickly, and September's coming up rather quickly, which is hopefully a good thing. Time is going by quickly so that we can all see each other perhaps in the office sometime soon. But even if not, I hope the past few months have been a good experience for all of you in terms of kind of being more reflective, having a chance to be with yourself a lot more and understand yourself. And for those of you who've been joining these sessions in the mornings, having that chance to take the techniques and the topics that we've been talking about and apply it to yourselves and your lives, and maybe seeing, what your levels of self-compassion really are. What were they pre-COVID and now? And hopefully it's been improving and you've had a chance to appreciate yourself a lot more and the people around you a lot more. And if you have been, maybe increase that. And for those of you who are practicing on the daily, I hope that your practice has been getting better, or you've seen, changes and improvements. So yeah, I hope that it's been a good few months. It's been a long time, I know, and there've been a lot of ups and downs for all of us, and we've discovered a lot. At least I hope you guys have discovered a lot about your likes and your dislikes and the way you do things, the connections you have with other people, and all of that combined in a package. And I hope that continues for sure. I know we're going to be in this kind of state for some time. So, use that to your advantage. It's definitely time that we may not have in the future. So absolutely grab it and make use of it. And even if it's not, taking on a hobby or anything like that, working on yourself is as much of a hobby and a lifelong commitment as anything. So I do hope that you guys incorporate that if you haven't already. But as we kind of continue our discussion of love, so August has been a month of looking at love from a more nuanced perspective. We've kind of looked at, the first week was self-compassion. The second week was understanding how do we express our love. And love doesn't only mean partner or, girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, spouse, etc. It means friends, family, your pet even, and to yourself. How do you express that? Are you someone who has words of affirmation? Are you someone who just goes and hugs everybody and you want that physical contact? Are you an acts of service type of person? You'll help a person out and that's your way of showing care. So that was last week. We kind of investigated and did a little bit of internal digging. And I think the consensus was a lot of us are a nice blend of the different types and very much dependent on who you're dealing with too. So you're definitely not going to run up and give everyone a hug. Some may, as long as that person's okay with it, but you will tailor it to the person that you're dealing with. So that was an interesting investigation, and one that I'm definitely still doing for myself. And this week, we are looking at something a little bit different. I thought, I was thinking about language and kind of off of words of affirmation. I was thinking about how our language affects and has a big influence on how we speak about love and the emotions that we feel and how we can express that. I know in English, which is a first language for many of us, or maybe a second, we maybe don't have words that will always express those very deep, complex feelings that we sometimes have. You know, when, like, for example, in the invite, I sent out a word name, a Portuguese term called saudade. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And essentially it means the love that remains after someone has left, someone or something, and that really deep state of nostalgic longing. And that's a really intense, deep emotion. And sometimes we don't always have the words to express what we're feeling. We use our hands a lot and we keep saying, you know, that feeling deep inside in that gut, but there's just not that word to say how you feel. I don't know if you guys have ever had that kind of emotion before. I'm sure you have. But I started digging deeper into other languages just to see, how do they express themselves? What does it look like? What does it sound like? So before I share any of the things that I kind of discovered, do any of you who speak other languages have any terms that you've seen or heard that describe, you know, a kind of obscure emotion? You can take some time to kind of keep thinking, and I'll share a couple that I came across. And if you think of anything, absolutely, you know, share it in the chat or out loud. It would be totally cool. But I came across some really, really lovely ones. I will butcher the pronunciation, so apologies to anyone who speaks these languages. But these were really sweet, and actually I'll put it in the chat so that you guys can see it and not only listen to my terrible pronouncing of the words. So this word here, I won't even attempt to say it, is Welsh, and it means a safe haven given to you by the one you love. And it also means a hug. And I feel like the two of those definitions really go hand in hand together. You know, when you're embraced by someone that you're comfortable with and trust, it is really like a safe haven in that moment, in those few moments with the individual. So it was really, really lovely term. And I love that there's an actual term for that. That was really special to me because I personally love hugging people. So it's nice to think that, you know, when you open your arms and embrace somebody, that affection and that space and trust you're giving them could definitely be considered a safe haven, even for a few moments. And I think that's really lovely. And I found this term as well rather lovely as well. The language itself is called Yagan, and it's from Tierra del Fuego, which is land of fire, is translated in Spanish. And that's the southernmost tip of the South American mainland, that small area. And the word itself is really beautiful. The translation is a meaningful, wordless look shared between two people who want to initiate something, but they're scared to make the first move. It's a rather interesting and rather common emotion, I think, that we all feel. Yeah, it is actually really cool. And I never really, when I saw that, I didn't even think of that moment, you know, when you lock eyes with somebody and you have a moment, you connect with that person, but then neither of you get up to actually speak, whether that mean in a romantic sense, a friendship sense, curiosity, whatever it is. I thought, my goodness, that's so true. It's in English to me, and I don't know for you guys, but the first thought is, oh, you lock eyes with somebody. And then it kind of stops there. We don't really describe what happens after, or even the intention behind it. So this word really is like a comprehensive full course meal, so to speak, which I thought was really cool. And I would love if English had, you know, a term like that, but very cool. And I will share one more with you. I really loved this word. So much power in one word. I completely agree. Language is such a powerful tool. and it can evoke so much, take away and give back so much. Completely agree, Teresa. Yeah. And then this term here, it's Arabic. And it changes depending on the region, but this pronunciation is from the Levant, which is a ancient region of Lebanon and Syria. And it translates to "you bury me," and that further means it's a declaration where you would hope you pass away before your loved one because the pain of living without them is too much. And I thought that's again rather powerful and very deep. It really speaks to that deep connection that you have with a person, and it's also very selfless and selfish. I would say the two sides of the coin. You know, you can't live without that person, but what about for that person? What if you pass and they can't be without you, you know? So it's that really deep, close connection with a person that you can't live without them. And, oh, lovely. Teranga. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Melbury. And does that mean the same thing? That I really appreciate that. That's beautiful. Well, I like it. It's beautiful, Teranga. Definitely something that I will write down and share with everybody. Wolof. That's beautiful. Thank you again, Mulberry. Much appreciated. I love this. And if any of you guys have any other languages too that you speak and would love to share, please do. But yeah, I hope you guys kind of see, you know, those emotions that we feel and the way that other languages have been able to pick up on them and bring it to the forefront of our minds. And the real reason that I wanted to share these words with you and definitions and kind of bring this as a topic was that a lot of times we are not mindful of how we're feeling so deeply. Sometimes we just label it as, oh, it's heartbreak, and just leave it at that. Or, oh, I'm just in love, and leave it at that. But sometimes when you really dig deep and you pay attention, you watch the nuance of what you're feeling, what triggers it, you learn so much about the multifaceted nature of our emotions. It's not just a flat one-term thing. There's always so much more behind it. And I feel like love is something that's really easy. Love, anger, like those two things are really emotions that we're familiar with and yet so not familiar with. And I really would love if you guys had the chance to, or I wanted to highlight it so you have the chance to pay more attention and maybe discover something about yourself and how you maybe react to certain situations, to certain people, certain energies. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. And I really wanted to use that as a focus for our mindfulness practice for this session. With these terms, and thank you, Melbury, for the additional information about it. Much appreciated. Definitely will be sharing that with the rest of the team. Thank you. So yeah, even reading this explanation of hospitality and Teranga and the other words that we shared, I want you guys to maybe look back or think back to emotions that you felt when maybe you've fallen in love. Maybe you felt love when you had a family member around you. Perhaps sadly, you know, you felt the loss of someone maybe moving away or passing away. And I want you to investigate that emotion. Investigate not only the emotion, but how you reacted to it before, during, after. And just be with it and look at it. Be a bit more microscopic, shall we say, in your investigation, and see it as you would, as an outsider would. if that makes sense to you. Looking at that emotion and those facets as a scientist would look at a petri dish under a microscope. And the reason I'm asking or sharing that with you and asking you to try it out is you learn so much about yourself and how you react to certain situations, and that it's not always the same. And it can be very interesting and very enlightening if you continue that practice and you start to see some interesting patterns, which, you know, I've had the chance to a couple times, and it's been rather educational. So I wanted to share that with you guys too, and give you the chance to give it a shot. So if you guys are willing, and you don't have anything else you want to share, unless anyone wants to share anything else. All right. Well, let's give it a shot. I will give you guys a couple minutes just to, you know, think of an emotion that you want to investigate. And if you don't want to do, you know, anything related to love, it can be anything at all that you're comfortable investigating, of course. And if you don't want to try this out, not a problem either. Give it you can try belly breathing or any of the other techniques that we tried. But prior to that, as always, let's try a bit of stretching just to get comfortable. So if you guys are already sitting, you want to make sure your posture is nice and upright, nothing too stiff. You want to keep your feet flat on the floor and your hands in your lap or at your side. And just close your eyes and bring your mind to the tip of your nose. And just take a few breaths just to make yourself feel centered and comfortable. And when you feel nicely settled, very gently do a couple neck rolls just to loosen up your neck. Release any tension you might have had from the morning. And gently bring your head back to the center of your neck. And go back to our dinner plate rolls. And what those are imagining dinner plates next to our shoulders and matching the outer rim of the dinner plate with our shoulders as we roll. So either forwards or backwards. Just gently roll your shoulders and try to match that plate next to your shoulder, just to nicely loosen everything up. And after you do a couple of those, you can gently center them back down. And just normalize your breathing. You don't want to force anything. And for those of you who would like to imagine an emotion, bring that into the forefront of your mind and just observe it. Don't cling to it and don't identify with it, but just look at it. Investigate how you feel. Investigate the nuances it evokes within you. If you feel upset, let that emotion come up and leave just as it came. And if you'd like to do belly breathing, absolutely. Drop your breathing to your stomach and very gently, without forcing your breathing, very gently watch the rise and fall of your stomach. And if you feel dizzy at any point, just bring your breathing back up to your nose. If you feel distracted or hear a sound, it's okay. Just bring your attention right back to where you were focused on before. And as you slowly take your next breath, gently bring your attention back to the tip of your nose. And take a few breaths just to gently ground yourself. And when you feel ready and centered and comfortable, feel free to open your eyes. Take a few moments. I hope that was an interesting investigation. Hope you were able to dig deep and perhaps learn something new. And I hope you give it a try, after this. And if you ever feel like sharing, please do. If not, that's totally okay too. Hopefully you learned something. And thank you, as always, for coming. I really appreciate that you came in the afternoon with your flexible schedules, so thank you for that. And yeah, as always, thank you for looking after yourselves and taking the opportunity to, have some time for yourself. So bravo to you as always. And I'll look forward to connecting with you guys next week in the morning. But Joe will definitely try to have more afternoon sessions so you can join us as well. And I hope you do. But thank you so much to you guys for coming. And I hope you have the most amazing afternoon.